Hello, I'm Tony Guida. This is My New York. Broadway audiences are not easily stunned or moved to tears, but those were the reactions when a groundbreaking musical opened on Broadway 60 years ago this month.
Good night, sleep well, and when you dream of me.
West Side Story. Broadway had never seen anything like it. Bigotry, race, rape, and murder set to a soaring symphonic score. The battles between the gangs on stage were rivaled by some of the fights among the creators backstage. Making art out of this chaos was the job of Hal Prince. The distinguished producer and director is here to recount the making of Broadway history. Next. What a pleasure it is, in fact, an honor to welcome to the program Hal Prince. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was talking to a former critic of the New York Times not long ago, Stephen Holden, and he had an interesting idea. He said West Side Story was the Hamilton of its day. What do you think of that?
Oh, well, it's something a critic would say. I mean, it's perfectly fine, but I don't categorize things like that. Hamilton's a terrific show and extremely well written, extremely well presented and acted and directed and all the rest. But no, I think the history of the theater is so much more about steps along the road, and there are lots of steps.
I think he meant it in terms of groundbreaking.
Well, I don't know. I even think there were equally groundbreaking shows along the way. I'm associated with a couple of them.
You're associated with many of them, but what would you say?
But I mean, if you're talking about shows that have the sellout popularity of Hamilton, West Side was not one of them.
No,
not remotely.
I think I'm talking about. Well, I'd like to know from you.
It was a watershed show, but so was Company.
But that's later.
And so, well, that's the point. You're getting later when you talk about Hamilton. So I'm saying along the way there were a lot of shows that experimented with material that was different for musicals. The real point is that over the years, popular music ceased to be theater music. So all the great popular music in the 20s, 30s, even 40s and early 50s were hit songs on the radio,
right,
and then television, and that ceased to be. It was all taken over by R&B and hip hop and all that stuff. And when that happened, the assignment of doing musicals changed. You could examine much more dangerous material. The book of a musical suddenly became much more important.
I see what you're saying, and that I think was part of what I was trying to get at. We're talking about 1957. We're talking about
you are.
We're talking about a time of repression. Just coming out of the McCarthy years. It seems
it was a watershed musical. Don't misunderstand me. It was very important. I noticed in the intro before you said it was there were a lot of backstage things. There really weren't. Now, mind you, I'm here a little under false pretenses because I was not at the beginning of the show. It took 13 years to get that show on. and many permutations. It was originally supposed to be about a
It was
Jewish
originally
boy and a Catholic girl, or vice versa.
East Side Story.
Yeah,
East Side Story.
Abe's Irish Rose. It would have been
Right.
more substantial, but it certainly wouldn't have been what finally opened on Broadway. It was to be produced by someone else entirely, Cheryl Crawford, who was one of the best producers in the theater. But the year before, and a friend of Lenny Bernstein's, and she had done Candide. And Candide was a very ambitious project, and it flopped. And the very next year, she was trying to raise money for a very ambitious project, and she couldn't.
Right.
So she dropped it. Roger Stevens, who was on the behind her and put money in it and really was quite loyal to the whole project, stayed with it when my partner and I, Bobby Griffith, took it over. But I knew all about it. Steve Sondheim was my best friend. I knew the score. I knew what they were doing. And so when they found themselves without a production, without a producer, we jumped in and took over. And sure, we did plenty, but mostly we found them a theater. We finished the scenery, we raised the money, and we were at all the casting sessions. So we were there.
Let's go back to this idea, and we'll come back to this, but the idea that this is, as you say, a watershed, I wonder if you could define that in these terms. First of all, very serious subject matter.
Yes.
And perhaps...
Well, it's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it's Romeo and Juliet in modern dress and
right.
with gangs on the west side of New York. But serious material for a musical, and the dance. The story is told very much through dance.
There's a lot of dance in the show. There's a lot of dialogue in the show.
Right.
This was not a sung-through show like Phantom of the Opera or no. This was a show with equal book, dancing, and singing. The whole issue of dancing plot had been started with Oklahoma, Agnes DeMille. And then she did it with Carousel. But until Jerry Robbins came along with West Side Story, and he's the choreographer, director, in the Agnes DeMille shows, the leading characters were suddenly replaced by expert dancers who played their parts. And then after the ballet, then the
characters came back.
The leads came back. This time, everybody did everything. So that was the most innovative and extraordinary thing. And it was the beginning of actors, musical comedy people, musical people, being required to sing, dance, and act. And that was the first time that had ever happened. In my earlier days, I did a few musicals before then, you had singers, you had dancers, they didn't do each other's work, and you had leading players. And very often, stars were the least of the singers. They were personalities. Right. But the real singers were in the chorus.
I've even seen, I know you're aware, I've even seen the stars and the other actors not only singing, dancing, acting, but even playing musical instruments.
Well, that was introduced fairly recently by an English director. It's a trick. It's fine. It's fun. It hasn't got legs. It won't last.
No, but it was fascinating to see. I forget what the production was, with Patti LuPone playing
Sweeney
tuba,
Todd. It was a show I directed originally on Broadway, and Steve Sondheim wrote it. Then this English director came in and did a pocket-sized version of it, which was nicely received. It was fun, but and everybody played musical instruments and played their own roles. It's fun. I regard it as a trick.
Yeah, that's an interesting trick. Getting back to the dance in West Side Story, the amount of dancing, I was looking up some reviews. The Daily News called the dancing savage, restless, electrifying.
Well, that was accurate, and it's amazing how you could meld Puerto Ricans, Caucasians at each other's throats, and yet have them do classical dancing as well as modern dancing. There was the opening number, they dance. If you've seen the film, you know Jerry did that as well. It's almost classical dancing. And then they speak a language of the streets, which was essentially invented by Arthur Laurents. Mm-hmm. And they sing soaring material with lyrics invented by Steve Sondheim and Bernstein's music. So it's a very brave, courageous effort that actually worked. Parenthetically, I was in Russia, in 1964, one of my trips, and the American ambassador gave me a party, and they had been playing West Side Story and My Fair Lady in repertory in Moscow, and there was no arrangement for royalties. They just stole the material. So when my wife and I arrived in Moscow, they took it off the boards for the length of time that we were in Russia. The American ambassador said, I'm going to give a party and have the cast over. So I went there, and the director said, can I talk to you? And he took me in a corner, and I said, what's on your mind? He said, they tell me there's dancing in your West Side Story.
Really?
So I said, what do you do? What do you do? What
were they doing?
How long does the show last even? But they did mime.
Well, perhaps this is the time to remind the audience or to inform you out there that this man is probably, I would call him Mr. Broadway, has 21 Tony Awards. He has, I don't know, a barrel full of Drama Desk Awards. He has done everything there is to do on Broadway and is probably going to do a lot more. And
Hope so.
We are grateful. You have made our lives better with your shows. I could go down the list, but
I was very West Side is one of the few shows that I didn't start in my office and didn't start. It was there, and we added something to it, and we got it on, and we loved it and nursed it. But one of the things that people don't remember, why would they, is that when it opened on Broadway, there used to be probably 200 walkouts every night. And I recall, because I'd stand at the end of the aisle and say, you're wrong, go back.
Why? And this has got to be really upsetting to a producer. People walk out, this thing is, you got to be saying to yourself, this thing is going to close in a week.
Well, no, because the economics of Broadway were so different. You could really run a show at 60% capacity and even pay off the investment. It's a different world today.
Why were they walking out? The material was too strong?
Too curious, too weird an animal. Now, what happened is, of course, it played for on to 2 years, but went away after a year and a half and then came back. What happened was, in the interim between the Broadway play and the film, were enough years.
What, 4 years later, 5
enough years for the public to catch up and to get with it. taste just joined it. So by the time the film came out, it was the Academy Award winner, and it was a gigantic success. And in fact, my investors realized more money from the film than
Well,
the
I was going to
Broadway
ask
show.
you, the reviews were good.
No,
I heard the
no,
reviews were...
they were cold.
They were cold?
They were they were sort of academic. Now, mind you, I'm not saying all the reviews, but there were some of the reviews were able to, as you just quote, kind of put some electricity in.
Well, Walter Kerr in the Tribune said, and I guess he meant this positively, he said the radioactive fallout from West Side Story is still descending on Broadway this morning. Sounds like he meant that positive.
No, he meant that positively, but if you read the whole review, and please don't, you would find it was very, very iffy. Very iffy. They were stunned too. And it was accused of being cold. Now there's
How? In what sense?
cerebral. I think the marriage of what I just said, of classical dance, modern dance, operatic, contemporary, I Like to Be in America, very lively, jazzy, very popular number. But that amalgam of material was so new and somewhat confusing to an audience had been used to Annie Get Your Gun, Pajama Game, a show I did, Damn Yankees.
The Music Man, which won
the Music Man.
Tony that
The
year.
Music Man won the Tony. We only won one Tony that year for Jerry's Dancing.
Right.
Nothing else.
Nominated for 6.
I went to the Tony Awards alone. I went alone because none of the creators would go. No, we'd been dissed. The Music Man was the show. Now, what happens in the theater always, not often, but always, is history deals ultimately with the size of an influence of what a piece of art is. It's not just the theater, it's film, it's everything. So ultimately, of course, it's West Side Story that is the watershed show, and The Music Man's a swell, old-fashioned musical.
Right. Did you, I take it from what you're saying that the Broadway show itself did not make money, but you got...
No, we made money.
You made
we
some
made
money?
because, as I said, you could break at 60%.
Yeah.
You can't break at 60% again. We paid back the investment.
And the film...
And then the film
Double
was
and triple
a gold mine for
Right.
everybody, for all the investors, thank God.
For what it's worth, and it's probably worth nothing because I'm not a critic, but I hated the film. I just... I didn't like that film at all.
It's very interesting. I did not love the film. Elements in it were terrific. Jerry worked on it for just, I don't know whether it was half the film, as co-director, and then he was fired. I think because it cost too much to satisfy all his needs.
Yeah.
And I arrived in Hollywood with my partner, Bobby Griffith, to see the film in work. And I got to the soundstage, and there was a very strange, down mood. And the kids, a lot of the people in the film were from the original play.
Right.
Not the two leads, but a lot of the gang. And they came up and they said, Jerry's didn't come in this morning, he's been fired. So it was a shock. And they were shooting the gymnasium sequence.
Right.
And I knew then, because Robert Wise, who was the co-director with Jerry, was a very good director, one of the best directors in Hollywood. But this was a musical, and this was Jerry's baby. And he, for example, the gym scene, if Jerry had filmed it, would have been much more interesting than a long shot of, the way they did do it. However, it was a huge success. Nothing, you can't argue with the success of that movie. It was enormous. So its impact
It's interesting
was
that-
very strong.
Yeah, it's interesting that you talk about people's taste evolving, that the audience's taste evolving in regard to this show. And it did pretty quickly because the show was 57, 58.
I've had that experience
and then
before.
what? The film was 3 years later.
I've had that experience before. I did Cabaret some years later in '66, and we had a number in which Joel Grey danced with a gorilla, and the last line was, "If you could see her through my eyes, she wouldn't look Jewish at all." Well, we could not use that on Broadway because the Broadway audience stayed in the theater after the show and argued among each other about how insulted or how okay it was. And so I said, no, it's out, and we changed it. By the time the film came out, the line was restored. People grow with the artwork and finally come to accept and understand. You go to a museum, you look at a painting, a modern painting, and you may look at Mark Rothko and think, what the hell is that? Or you look at Mark Rothko and say it's some kind of genius. You learn.
Yes, you do. Let's go back to the language a little bit. I read that Stephen Sondheim was not happy with some of his lyrics. He thought they were, I think, arch.
I think he thought so. We don't talk about it much, but I think he thought it was a very tough assignment to write romantic lyrics under those circumstances. But so I've heard what you said. He's referred to it. I think over the interim years, he's come to accept it's a pretty goddamn great job.
Yeah. Well, he talked about Carol Lawrence in her song "I Feel Pretty."
For sure.
She talks about it's alarming how charming I feel. He didn't.
Well, you felt
that he didn't.
No arguing. You wonder, would a girl say that? No.
Right.
But related to that is the fact that Arthur Laurents, who wrote the libretto, actually created a language for the show so that the whole show wasn't real, because it couldn't be. If you were going to do those dances, you couldn't be real gangs. So he had all that womb to tomb, sperm to worm, all that stuff, not words that anybody would sing. And clearly, Officer Krupke is a number that and they all knew it. That it was not something that a bunch of street gangs would sing about psychoanalysis. What the hell did they know about psychoanalysis?
And then, of course, the final line, which was a four-letter word eventually.
But the meat and potatoes of the song, difficult to take. However, without it, the audience had to have an opportunity to breathe and laugh.
And this is the second act, yeah.
Have a good time, because it got very heavy as the evening went on. And you have to do that. You have to give the audience a chance to relax and have a good time.
You said that there weren't that many disputes, and you've been through many shows, but I've read that first of all, Jerry Robbins, who's a genius,
difficult man.
Very difficult.
Very difficult.
Carol Lawrence was quoted as saying that the stage that he said, Robbins said, this stage is a battleground. No one is allowed on stage unless I summon.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what that's all about. That was a technique of his. He was very enamored of some of the Actors Studio stuff. So he said that the Jets and the Sharks could not be friends. Mm-hmm. They could not go to lunch together on lunch breaks in rehearsal. They had to be enemies. He was dealing, and there was a character called Anybody's, a little girl who wanted to be in the gang but was neither. She ended up having her lunches alone almost every day. So, but what he was doing was really interesting. To what extent he actually understood, he was taking a bunch of young performers and telling them, this is very important material. I want you to bring in newspaper headlines about gang warfare, and we'll paste them to the side of the rehearsal hall. I want you to relate to it so that you're committed to it. That really did work, and actually I stole that from him. When I did the aforementioned cabaret, I went there. If everybody is on a crusade with a piece of serious material, it's very useful.
The Arthur Laurents actually described the production. He called it a gang war, but
that's how it happened.
But then the audition of Larry Kurt, well, actually Carol Lawrence to be Maria with Larry Kurt was Bernstein, I guess, was in the rehearsal hall or something, because when it was over, he called it the most mesmerizing audition he had ever seen.
I don't recall that at all, but I do know she was in a Folly. She was in a review, like a Ziegfeld Follies, and doing operatic singing. So, but I don't remember that audition, really. I just know she was terrific, really terrific.
So a show that was originally conceived as East Side Story, Jewish and Catholic.
Oh, and Comden and Green were going to write it. So you can see how different the whole thing was originally going to be. It was going to be the old team that had done On the Town, the exact same foursome, and then it changed.
Yeah, when Arthur Laurents, who was already writing it, discovered A.B.'s Irish Rose, old play, said, wait a minute, this has been done already, and the project languished for, what, 9-10 years?
Well, I don't know that. I know it all started to really roll in about 2 to 3 years before it was seen.
Well, it rolled quite well, and it's still rolling in many community theaters. And
there was a revival on Broadway a few years ago, which I did not see, but which was successful.
It's eternal. West Side Story is eternal. Hal Prince is eternal. And thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. Good questions.
And if you want more Hal Prince, head to the Manhattan Theater Club for a collection of the great moments that he's given us across the past 60 years. The show is called Prince of Broadway. And next time on this show, part 2 of our celebration of West Side Story with the incomparable Chita Rivera. You do not want to miss this. And to make sure you don't, let me tell you, that show will be 2 weeks from now. Write it down, Chita Rivera, 2 weeks from tonight. Thank you for watching.